Then our clock's
7
wrong
o'clock.
up there.
Yeah.
Call the roll.
Mayor Bain,
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Here.
Councilman Best, Councilwoman Zapata,
Present.
Councilman Petrolanda.
We have a invocation by Councilman Best. Please stand.
Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. Hail, Holy Prince, through your intercession and the power of Almighty God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits which prowl through the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen.
Right hand over your chest, hats off. Go say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. Talk to you. Okay, first thing on the agenda tonight is the announcement of the Women's Club fundraiser raffle winner. And
Mayor, forgive me, I'm sorry. Order of business.
I thought you wanted me to do that after the presentations.
Just to introduce it into the agenda
Okay.
and then bring it up whenever you
I'm
like.
going to bring it up now, and
Yeah,
then we'll vote
and
on
get
it now?
consensus from council just to add it to the agenda.
Okay, we want to add to the agenda a resolution, and this is a resolution as far as protesting against the new TGK building. They want to put the 8-story, 2,000 beds, and I want to put it into the agenda so that we can vote. I need consensus to put it on the agenda tonight. Do I have consensus?
Yes.
I think you had voice vote on that. We're good.
You want a voice vote?
No, consensus is fine.
Good, okay.
Consensus?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to put that on the agenda. We'll do it when the attorney tells me the proper time to do it. And while we have everybody here, all the people that are here from the Women's Club, that you could spread the word, you can go ahead and get informed and get educated on what they're trying to do over there on TJK. They're going to be here on March 9th. The county is going to be here to set a proposal to give us information on what they're trying to do. It seems like Mike, our commissioner, Commissioner of Virginia Gardens, which is Doral, seemed like nobody knew about this till the memo came out on February 13th. When it came out on February 13th, it just exploded, and Mayor Dino's been very proactive. I talked to our commissioner, and so through that, the manager's been proactive to get the county over here to give a presentation, and then they're going to give one to, I think ours is the 9th, and then whenever
19th in BG.
the 19th at Virginia Gardens. Pepe Diaz did go to Virginia Gardens and expressed, I don't know what the word I want to use. but
Dissatisfaction.
Dissatisfaction of the fact that he's going to help fight it, but I think that we, as a city, there's about 30 here tonight, you get 10. I'd love for when they come up here on the 9th for this hall to be filled and to listen to what's going on. And I'm glad I have the form that you're all here. You guys are proactive in the community. Get it out. Let them know.
Where is this going to happen?
Here,
At
No.
March 9th.
March 9th, it's in here.
Oh, TGK, a TGK.
CTG, where the
Jail
where the
was.
jail is now.
They're going to enter the jail.
8 stories.
They want to build a brand new one.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
Just adjacent to it.
Mayor, we can bring up some of this background information on this item. We can bring up some of this background information when this item comes
Well, I
up.
wanted
Yeah.
them here because they might leave, and I wanted to get it out now.
Okay, we'll tell 150 people.
There you go. Okay. Well, you could get the more information from the manager after the meeting, so I'm just informing you now while I have you all here.
Nice.
All right, we're going. You're welcome. Now we're going to go ahead and do a drawing for a raffle, and I guess the winning ticket gets my ticket, 500. My ticket gets 500, and then the second ticket gets what?
There's no second ticket.
There's no second ticket.
It's winner take all.
That's it.
Okay, well, bring the pot up here, okay, and Councilwoman Mitchell's going to do the drawing. All of you come up. All the red shirts, come on up.
Why?
Except for Buzz.
Red coats.
You're blue.
I forgot my red shirt.
Buzz, there's still time to go home.
Is he a member? No. Linda, you're gonna shake them up and miss.
Don't shake 'em too much.
Whoa.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh.
no. Oh, that's,
She's gonna pull my name.
that's terrible.
Shaky.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't look inside. You can see names.
You got to shut your
Before,
eyes.
before I draw,
Or the chance drawing.
Or the
No raffle,
chance.
chance drawing.
drawing. I just want to again say how the Miami Springs the Miami Springs Women's Club is just such an amazing organization. That today they had a scholarship luncheon for nursing students and raised, how much was it? Like
Over 5,000.
This is just like 1 week in the Women's Club. It's amazing. Every single week they have so many. We because I'm a Women's Club member also. Have so many projects going on and just help the community all around South Florida, but Florida and nation with so many projects that it's just beyond belief. So I want to thank everyone in the Women's Club for the hard work you do. You're really the backbone. You and the other civic organizations that we have here in Miami Springs are just the backbone of this community. Thank you.
Thank you so
Was
much,
this this the meeting where you sponsor a nursing student going for?
And a scholarship for arts. In
Yeah, yeah, that's
That was at today's lunch.
very commendable.
This year, we're doing 2. We did 2. 2 scholarships.
Why are,
2 nursing scholarships.
do you think you're gonna win that you're holding on there?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I'm glad she wouldn't stand up, so I don't want to let her leave.
So this very worthwhile project is to help paint the Women's
Yeah,
Club.
restore the plaster and paint, and help pay for the termites.
yeah, they want to go on vacation.
But the club does so much for all the other communities, and this is to help our club, Clubhouse.
You got the winning number in your hand, do you?
Is it yours?
No, it's just Charlie Leonard.
But he's here in the room.
Donating it back. Let's get a picture.
Huh?
Gotta invite him
Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?
Where's the check? Where's the check?
It's too funny. He does a lot.
This is terrific. Well, we need some officials in the background over here. Billy, stand up over here. There we go, okay.
Yeah, you can't
Okay,
see
look
him.
happy, here we go. Big smile.
All right.
Billy, come on out.
Come on, all of us, we'll take a picture. Charlie, you really wanted that money back all the way. Charlie?
Go ahead. Absolutely.
What luck he has. Always has great luck.
Yeah.
Happy man. If I will, immediately tell your wife that you won all this money. Okay, so here we go. Whoa, there are more people than I thought. Okay, so here we go. And a big smile. There we go. That's, yeah, looks like that. Okay, one more. One more. Good. Thank you for breaking that smile. Come on now. That's excellent. Good. Okay.
Thank you to everybody who bought a ticket to
Yeah.
help us reach our goal.
Yes.
I told Nancy when I walked in, I said, Nancy, if I win the ticket, I want to donate it back to the women's club.
Told you, I told you.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Charlie, Charlie.
I told somebody why we not donate it back? I think the fix was in. Lucky duck.
Good idea.
I was gonna do that. No, this is real. This is real.
Did he win the one for the Optimist at one time?
I think so, yeah.
Hey, Tom, remember when the Optimists were up here? He won too?
No, what I would have done is have another drawing, let somebody else win.
Oh.
That's what I was gonna do.
Okay, so here we go. And on 3, 1, 2, Great. Oh, that was quick. One more. That's good. Okay. You got that.
Thank you.
Linda, you guys are amazing.
Women who purchase the tickets every day.
Yeah, but make sure you're here.
We sold all the tickets then. But you got the money back.
Linda.
Charlie,
No, they'll get it.
Charlie, you are Nancy.
Oh, we made you laugh.
Man.
Thank you, Maria. You know what? I did
Charlie,
buy so many tickets.
he stole my thunder. I was going to do that too.
Okay, Mike. Okay.
That was nuts.
I told Tommy watch, he's gonna donate it back.
No, it's funny because
Julie, thank you for.
when I walked in, I
Okay, I need to talk to Paul and Adeline Smith, Yard of the Month.
if I win it, I'm just gonna donate it back to you guys so you can do your scholarship or whatever. I hope you win it, and I couldn't believe it.
Been 5 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, Chief.
A certificate of recognition presented to Paul and Adelaide Smith.
Hey, when are we going to be able to talk?
How do you get a Smith name? You don't.
I'm a Smith.
Oh, you're a Smith.
Billy, your mic's
And
not on.
it's 660 Nightingale Avenue
Rubber Myers, take a look.
for their home being designated the Yard of the Month for March 2022. Presented this 24th day of February 2020. Congratulations. All right.
Thank you very much.
You got it.
Nice yard, guys.
Okay, we have the presentation about our audit. Come on up and introduce yourselves.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Enrique Llerena, and I served as the engagement partner in the audit of the city's financial statements for fiscal year ended September 30th, 2019. I'm here tonight to give you a brief presentation of our reports that are included in your CAFR for the fiscal year that ended. If you turn to page 1 of the financial statements, here you see our independent auditor's report. The first paragraph of this report is titled Report on Financial Statements, and it discusses the items that we audited. And it states that we've audited the accompanying financial statements of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the City of Miami Springs as of and for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2019, and the related notes to the financial statements, which collectively comprise the city's basic financial statements as listed in the table of contents. This section is followed by management's responsibility, which is that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. The next 3 paragraphs cover the auditor's responsibility, and in essence, our responsibility is to express our opinions based on the financial statements based on the audit that we performed. At the bottom here, you see the opinion paragraph. Here you see an example of an unmodified opinion, and it's the only kind of opinion you want to be associated with. And it states that in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city as of September 30th, 2019. Pages 3 through 18 of this document contain management's discussion and analysis. This is a plain English analysis performed by management that tells you not only what happened during the year, but how it compares to prior year and what changed and why. So if you have an opportunity to read this section, this is a very useful section to understand everything that occurred during the year at the organization. If you flip to the back to page 109, here's where our compliance section is included, which is the rest of the reports that are included in the financial statements. The first report is the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. This is commonly referred to as a Yellow Book report and is broken down in 2 sections. The first section is internal control over financial reporting, and the second section is compliance and other matters. And in essence, on this report, we would report back to you any items that rise to the level of significant deficiency or material weakness, that would impact either internal control or financial reporting or compliance and other matters. And we're pleased to know that we do not have any matters to bring to your attention at this time. Because the city met the requirements to have a single audit, you have this other report that's titled Independent Auditor's Report on Compliance for its major program and on internal control over compliance required by the Uniform Guidance. This is required because you met the requirements of federal single audit. And the report, the first section is report on compliance of its major federal program, and it tells you in essence the program that we audited. This is followed by management's responsibility, which is that management is responsible for compliance with federal statutes, regulations, and the terms and conditions of its federal awards applicable to its federal programs. And our responsibility, again, is to render an opinion on compliance based on the audit that we performed. And again, on this report, you have an unmodified opinion on compliance. We do not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses to bring to your attention as it relates to compliance as a result of the single audit that we performed. On page 118, you have the management letter in accordance with rules of the Auditor General. This is a required letter to be included with your financial statements. And here it gives us the opportunity to report back to management, or to those charged with governance rather, any recommendations that we have that do not rise to the level of significant deficiency or material weakness, but it's a recommendation either way to improve operations. I'm pleased to note that we do not have anything to bring to your attention. We also did not have any items related to non-compliance that didn't rise to the level of a finding, but that it was an opportunity for improvement. We also don't have anything to report as it relates to that. The final item I'm going to cover is a final communication letter, and this letter is a reminder of some of the significant aspects of our contract with the city. But most importantly, it allows us to report back to you, kind of got a report card on management. If we encountered any difficulties with what we did, if there were any disagreements with management, I'd actually like to take this opportunity to thank William and the rest of his team for all his assistance. Without all his help, we wouldn't be able to get this done in the timing that we do. Your staff does an excellent job, and it's extremely responsive. So we're very grateful for everything that they do. This concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions? I don't.
One, please, Mayor. When you did the report, you were saying you rely on the information we provide you for the report, or you do a lot of the auditing?
No, we audit your records. We audit your records. Absolutely.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Seems to be pretty comprehensive to me. I read it all, believe it or not.
Thank you. See you next year.
Through the chair, I'd just like to mention that this is, again, a testimony to William's ability to run a city. Year after year, we hear these folks come up in front of us and say it again and, you know, that everything's there. Everything's here. And generally, though, we have nothing. Usually there's like one or two little things, but tonight there's nothing. Thank you, guys.
All right.
There's a misconception. You get a report that doesn't have any recommendations, and you're like, okay, did they really look at something? What we have here, and it's not customary, management is extremely responsive. So throughout the process of anything that we could potentially identify, one of the things that you want to factor in when you determine if you have a finding in internal control or anything like that is management's responsiveness to anything that you could potentially identify it could be an issue. And that's where William excels in terms of his responsiveness and wanting to resolve things. We almost have to make sure that we stay on top of what he needs from us rather than us have to chase him for what he needs to provide to us. Again, a testament to what he does.
Thanks for that.
How many years, Mayor Ferrari, how many years have you performed, maybe you already said it, I didn't hear the report for us?
I've been with this firm since 2016.
Well, how many years has this firm
It's William's question.
provided this report
I think
for us?
at least 10 years,
On and off.
on and off, yeah.
But you have
So you've had some other firms in between?
Yes.
and you've also had a rotation on our side. It's not. I've been the partner on this engagement since 2016. Prior to me, there was another partner involved in this engagement.
They usually do, when you get firms, what they'll do is they'll change partners so that you have a fresh set of eyes looking at every couple of years. So that's what they do. And
Had some other firms in between the past 10 years?
I think before them, it was Grau. if
I'm not sure
mistaken.
going far back, but this did go out to bid, and we successfully responded to the RFP. You're welcome.
that you found such a great report.
Okay, we go to open forum. Nobody signed up to speak, so we're going to go to the 6A, February 10th, 2020, regular council meeting minutes.
Through the chair, motion to move 6A.
Second.
Call the vote, please.
Aye.
Yes.
Councilman Petralanda?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
Yes, I think this is a good time to, 7, to go ahead and do the resolution. We're going to go ahead and resolution here, I guess reports and boards commission, you can put it in there. Let's go for it.
This is a resolution of the mayors and city council of the city of Miami Springs, Florida, opposing the expansion or creation of new facilities on the site of the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center, urging the mayor and board of county commissioners of Miami-Dade County to reject any plans to do the same, providing for transmittal and providing for an effective date. And I think the idea behind this is that the 4 cities will be passing similar resolutions.
Yeah, that was the intent. I mean, we've been speaking with Jose Fuentes and the manager, certainly the mayor, have been all over this issue since the news about it broke, about trying to get, and obviously also Mayor Dino, trying to get a strong opposition from the 4 cities that are immediately surrounding the facility. As the mayor alluded to earlier, just for the record, I mean, though it's in the resolution, but since it wasn't on the agenda, I'll go ahead and the mayor of Miami-Dade County transmitted to the Board of County Commissioners a report that was entitled "Review of Miami-Dade County's Need for a Detention Center Facility and Recommending Funding Model" in response to resolution number R1295-18. Essentially, and let me just add that the request for that report didn't specifically say how to expand TGK. It was a needs assessment based on all of the correctional institutions in Miami-Dade County, but certainly none of the 4 cities surrounding TGK, and perhaps others, weren't notified of the analysis. But as the mayor pointed out at the beginning, the report recommended the construction of a massive, almost $400 million facility on the TGK site. They don't call it an expansion of TGK, they call it an additional facility, essentially adjacent to or abutting TGK. And I put in the resolution succinctly that the new detention center would include a 1,400 bed detention center with mental health treatment center and full service medical clinic, a 556 bed intake and release center to be combined with 4 high volume courts and office space for partnering with criminal justice agencies, a central support service building, and a parking garage with finished offices for video visitation. And I took the luxury of adding some emphasis on some of those numbers. Succinctly put, while TGK may have been once upon a time on the west side, it's now in the center of the county. And whether you look at it from a compatibility perspective with the growth of residential to the west, or the trending of this area from just purely industrial to now a more commercialized base, or looking at the traffic of this area, which has grown astronomical, the idea is that it's not appropriate for the TGK site, and this is a resolution in opposition of it, which I think that we may also turn this into a letter from the 4 mayors. But not only do we say in the resolution that it's opposing the project, urging Miami-Dade County to reject the recommendations and the plans, consider alternative locations, and also include municipalities earlier in the process when you have a project like this under development.
Right.
So that is for your consideration.
It's a thing, it's a discussion about it. The thing is that when these people get released, they have nowhere to go. They have nobody to pick them up. So if you talk to your police officers in the city and Virginia Gardens, they come walking down 36th Street and walk all down through there, and it's a problem. They don't have no transportation to get them back to where they came from. So if you think about a situation where you have 2,000 units, it's a possibility in one day 100 people could be released in one day, and that's 100 people walking down. Then I talked to some people that work at the airport in the aviation. They have a problem with them jumping the fence to go across into the airport. And it would be a pretty big strain on our police officers and Virginia Gardens, and possibly going down into Doral. Something now they got to take care of that versus, we have the hotels. Then you're trying to make a gateway with the hotels coming in. You're going to have these people walking down the streets to the money that's been spent down there at the hotels. And I just think the most important part, it's very unfair that this letter from the mayor comes out on February 13th. You know, I was trying to go and have a good Valentine's Day, and then you had to read this, you know. So it really exploded on the 14th, 15th, and 16th with Mayor Dino and what was going on. So I'd like to see us pass it. I hope that we can, all of us, I believe we should put on our website, all the county commissioners, all their telephone numbers, because it's just not going to take our two. There's eight votes will move it. So
It'll move
we
it.
got to talk to we got to let our residents call every one of them and say that they're against this. And I hope council would agree with me to put it on the website and Facebook, whatever, Twitter or the cloud, whatever we got to put it on.
Yes, sir.
Let's put it out there, and I think we got to go do the best we can. You never know what might happen to this. It's still their property, and they might buck us anyway, but we're going to fight it. I'm hoping that we can get people to fight it.
Yeah, I think you got voice vote on that one. You know, I'm not really surprised, though, after William told me about this past week, because look where it is. It's unincorporated Dade County.
No, but it's not really.
Well, no.
It's really. No, that's another thing that was written in the paper that is misinformed. It's not part of the annex. It's not part of what is proposed to annex. It's kind of something separate in itself, Bob, Councilman.
Well, actually, it's going north, isn't it? Where they
No.
want to build the thing?
No,
Going.
the bottom. It's gonna. But
It
no,
is in the
east.
Of the, it's
Okay,
right
okay,
where
well,
the.
that's-
But what I'm trying to say is,
Well,
so
VG,
there's no
yeah.
misunderstanding. It's not part of the annex.
Mhm.
It's a parcel set aside its own self for the county. So it was implied in one of the articles that was wrote that it was implied, not necessarily said yes or no, but it gave because I got phone calls, it gave the impression that it was part of the annex, and it's not. It's the county's property on their own, so to speak.
Well-
just like the
Right.
FAC property.
But arguably, geographically, it would be considered part of unincorporated. It's we wouldn't garner anything
No,
from it,
no.
obviously. But the only way this thing flies, in my view, is if they fund an Uber account for all prisoners, and they're not going to do that, obviously.
All right, so
Mayor, I want to add something to what you said yesterday during the VG soccer event. I was talking to a couple of the elected officials. They're finding some of these folks on the park at night where the kids are playing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a problem, and it's an unstated problem because you know they actually get it. Virginia Yards is first to get hit by it because they're come right over the overpass and they come right down through there. I know that we have a situation, knowing some of our police officers, that we have a problem on 36th Street with them down the road. So, bottom line is, it's not a good fit, and it's got to be. There's got to be a better. We should see what we can do about it, and then we got to see if they have any kind of logistics of what they're going to do with these people that are going to be released, if it happens to be built. But I'm sure there's better places than right there in the middle of 4 municipalities, that residential areas and so on. So I'd like to see a motion to pass this, and they are going to be here tonight, and hopefully we can fill this audience.
Motion to move, sir.
They are.
Second.
Mayor, I'd like to say something. There is a much better place for this. The county owns Metro West facility, which is at Northwest 138th Avenue and 41st Street, so it's straight down 36th Street, the same street that they're talking about using, just at 138th Street. That's a huge facility with an abundance of open space. It's perfectly suited. It's already a county facility, similar to what they're talking about with TGK. So it's basically the same thing. It just, the difference is that they happen to have a lot of open space and nothing around it. It wouldn't impact anything. It's still centrally located. So I think we need to push for that. If they say, and perhaps this is what I was going to ask Dan, where we say here, find an alternative location, should we specify Metro West?
I think he does specify later on in the resolution.
Okay.
In one of the recitals, I put, whereas there exists a variety of locations in the county, including but not limited to Metro West Detention Center, better suited for the construction and permanence of the jail project.
And that is a perfect site. There's no reason, acceptable reason, that they can't use that site. And
Is this the one close to Doral, though?
well, it's west of, it is
West.
Doral, but it's 138th Street, so it's way past the turnpike, and you keep going and going into
I know
nothing,
where it
and
is,
then,
but
right.
It's actually further from Doral than TGK is from Doral.
Tom,
TGK is closer to Doral than 138th is from the perimeter.
And the other thing I wanted to mention that perhaps we should also use is that as far as entrance in and out of that facility, the only way that they can get in and out of that facility would be through Milam Dairy. The access would have to be on Milam Dairy and then flow, because there's no way that they can enter that facility from 36th Street. So that in itself means extremely limited access for a huge facility, which would cause backups all the way down Milam Dairy and 36th Street. And there's no way they can resolve that.
Well, our main situation is it's all in the, we did a good job of writing it, and our main, and I understand your proposal and everything, but the main thing is that we gotta be consolidate and make sure that we speak in one voice, the community and all the 4 cities, that it can't be, we want you to have it somewhere else. And so that's what we're doing now, and hopefully Doral, Medley, which have committed to do it, write a resolution or follow ours. So I got a first and a second.
You do, sir.
Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Mitchell?
Yes.
Councilman Best?
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata?
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes. We go to 9A, a recommendation by the police department.
9A is a recommendation by the Police Department that council approves an expenditure to ARC Acquisitions US Inc., utilizing State of Florida alternative contract, source number 43211150, WSCA 15 ACS, participating addendum to the NASPO Value Point Cooperative Procurement Program Computer Equipment Master Agreement, administered by the State of Minnesota Master Agreement.
Wait, start over again. Wow.
That's got to be.
Did you see me reading that one? Gee, mini Christmas. Go ahead. I'm
Number
sorry.
MNWNC-124 as amended in the amount of $14,804.52 for 4 Panasonic Tough Books and 4 Havas cradles for the motor patrol, as funds were available in the fiscal year 19 budget.
I should state
Nine-
that these are consent agenda items. I didn't state that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, consent.
9B is a recommendation by Public Works that council authorize the issuance and/or execution of a purchase order to Beck Ford Lincoln, utilizing a cooperative purchase with the Florida Sheriff Association contract JTM 8065R, an amount not to exceed $152,347.56 for a 16 cubic yard rear loader garbage truck, which exceeds the originally budgeted amount of $142,674 in the fiscal year 1920 budget.
Let me just remind you that item 9B has no effect on the general fund. This is coming out of the sanitation fund.
Okay. I was going to ask you
And,
that.
Motion to approve consent items 9A and B is read.
I'll second that, sir.
call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Mitchell?
Yes.
Councilman Best?
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata?
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes, we go to on about.
Mayor, if I might. Chief, can I ask a couple questions here? What is I mean, I read it, but I still don't understand it. What is a Panasonic Tough Book, and
It's
what
a
is a
laptop.
Havas Cradle?
The cradle is what holds that in place. This is specifically for our motorcycle officers.
Okay, right.
They have to have a special mount inside the box of the motorcycle that holds their laptop. So the Panasonic is the Tough Book is the type of laptop that they'll be using, and the Havas is the cradle that holds it in there. But it's a laptop / tablet. They can pull it out, go to a scene of an accident, take all their information right there, clip it back in, send the information via Wi-Fi.
Thank you, sir.
We go about the old business, 10A, the Stadnick property.
Yes, Mayor and Council, pursuant to Council's request, that staff perform an evaluation of the potential purchase of the Stadnick property by the city. I provided you some key considerations, which include the legal process for the purchase options of the property, potential costs of the city of each option, and the pros and cons of each option. Do you want me to read the whole memo, or just the highlights, or
How about highlights?
want me to read the whole thing?
No, I just highlights, I think, you know.
Let me just, I gave you 2 options of what can be done. I just want to go through the legal process for purchase. In accordance with Section 3111(1) of the City Code, which is on pages 3 and 4, all purchases of real property by the city shall be in accordance with the provisions of Florida Statute Section 166.05.045, which is on page 5. This statute requires the city to perform 2 independent appraisals for any purchase of real estate in excess of $500,000. It further requires that if the agreed purchase price is in excess of the average of the 2 appraisals, an extraordinary vote of council is needed. That would be a 4-to-1 council vote. If council votes to direct staff to move forward with this purchase, the first thing we would need is approval to spend between $5,000 and $6,000 for the 2 appraisals. I gave you 2 options. One is the option of purchasing it and converting it to government use, and option 2 was maintaining the property in the current status with the city becoming landlords. And I provided you some of the pros and cons and the costs involved in both options. And under option 2, maintaining the property in the current status, in our opinion, would also maintain the commercial use of the property, which is the desired use in the downtown business district. Also in the last paragraph, I mentioned that staff, along with Councilwoman Mitchell and Melinda Juster, held a meeting with Christine Rupp, Executive Director of the Dade Heritage Trust, a few days ago to discuss the property. Mrs. Rupp advised that there may be grants available for renovation of historic properties. However, she also mentioned that those are very competitive. Since the property is listed in the Federal Register, which is on page 15, any future owner, not the city, since we are tax exempt, could receive tax incentives from federal government for any improvements done to historic property, as well as access to federal preservation grants. Ms. Rupp also mentioned that if the intent of council is to protect the historic designation of the property, another option is for the city to legislatively make the process of removal of the designation a little stricter.
You didn't mention about if we took over the property, what estimate to bring to code? If you
Well,
want
I can read the whole memo, and that,
No, but I
that covers
mean,
it. Yeah.
that's a highlight, I think.
Under both options, yeah. Part of the problem we have is that, and as I mentioned in my memo, we requested from the broker of the property information on the current annual rentals, income generated by the property, and we also asked for access to have the building official and a local architect maybe go into the property and see what's involved in the renovation, but the request was denied. But I can tell you right off the bat, if the city were to buy it and turn it into government use, the first thing we would need to do is make it ADA compatible. And that the first thing you need to do is add an elevator to the 2nd floor, among other things. So there's no way to determine how much money we would have to invest in renovating that property.
Bring it back to the new codes, to the...
Why would they deny that request?
Well, she's currently working with a buyer,
Okay.
he told us, and I guess she doesn't want to rock the boat. But I couldn't get any information or permission to go in there, so.
I don't see, Mayor, if I may, I don't see how we can consider anything if we haven't. Thank you, Bob. Doesn't stay. If we don't have a chance to go in with and take a look at the property and assess it, it's almost impossible. I mean, we're just blindly guessing at numbers. So I'm very disappointed that that the realtor wouldn't allow us to go in and take a look at it, and for William to be able to develop some realistic figures of what we're talking about for a property of that age.
I will say that I'm not disappointed that they didn't let us in. I think that's part of their right. It's their property, so if they want to let somebody in or they don't want to let somebody in, you know, I don't put anything against the people that would do. It's just like my home. If I didn't want somebody come into my home, I can understand that. But the bottom line is, it's no matter how you look at it, it's a very tough thing to go ahead and purchase something that's over $1 million.
I think the difference, Mayor, is that the property's for sale, and for us to consider to make any kind of realistic
Okay.
consideration of, whether we should
Oh,
purchase
I-
a property, we would
think-
have to go in and see it.
No, and the
Maybe they'll have-
property is
Maybe they'll
historic.
have an open house.
The property is historical and very significant to this community. So I'm also wondering if the realtor is involved with a seller already, does that mean that the person who comes in doesn't have to go through all that we would go through? They don't have to put an elevator and all that?
Oh, if they change the use of that building,
Or if
They
they
would
change
have
the
to,
use, which
yes.
is the direction they're
Yes.
going? Very sad. Very sad indeed.
Anything else? So we'll just table this for another day?
Yeah, we just hope that the eventual usage would be practical for what's there as we speak.
It doesn't
Or-
smell like anything practical to me. Just
I think
Okay. All right, we go to city attorney. Anything from you today?
Mayor and council, we're just continuing to monitor the short-term vacation rental license bills that are working their way through Tallahassee. Jose Fuentes sent William and me a CBS local story that the governor has said that he believes that STVRs are something that should be governed at the local level right now. And so it's possible that it may not have the legs to make its way through the legislature, and if it does, maybe it'll face his veto pen. So
That's, you're talking about the Airbnb.
the Airbnb
Okay,
stuff,
so
yeah,
it's-
absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
So more to come on that.
okay. Anything from the city managers?
well, the other piece of legislation, as we all know, is the famous bed tax money.
Yeah.
And that made it through the Ways and Means Committee of the House, and now it's up to the full House, and then I guess the Senate. But there's already been, I sent you some articles that the tourism industry lobby is trying to fight it hard, but they're only fighting the part, there's two parts to it. One part allows it to be used for public safety, the other part is for water quality. And in the article, it says that they're against using it for water quality, but they don't mention anything about public safety.
Not that
So
odd, excellent.
I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for us, but at least it's up there and it's moving along, so.
Does it have to go to a subcommittee in the Senate too?
Well, there's
The House passed it to their subcommittee, or
right.
Ways
So
and Means.
there's a tax package that comes out of the Senate and one that comes out of the House. I presume that each one will likely pick up a will approve some modified version of it, and then after that it has to go to reconciliation afterwards.
I got you.
So that's the final step before it goes to the governor.
Gotcha. Anything else from the,
Just want to remind you about you'll get into the tot lot ribbon cutting this Saturday.
Yeah. So I just want to remind everybody to help encourage people to send in some questions for On the Reel with the chief. We're really trying to push that through our social media. Also this Saturday, the 29th, is the Little League Baseball opening at 10 a.m. at Prince Field. Also shortly after that at 10:30 is the tot lot ribbon cutting and reopening of the tot lot. I hope everybody got to see some of the pictures that were uploaded over the weekend and shared with everybody. The ladies' bridal shop down the way here on Westward has a Yes I Do festival on Sunday, March 1st, which is from 1:30 to 6 p.m. at 355 Westward Drive. So everybody is invited to that. 3-3 we have the monthly visit from Senator Manny Diaz Jr.'s office at 11 a.m. here in council chambers. March 7th is the final day for the farmers market, so if you haven't gotten a chance to get out there, make sure you get out there. And then on March 9th we are going to have an art reception where we will have another artist displayed there, who is actually Maria Font. So she'll be introduced that night.
okay, anything from Councilwoman Mitchell tonight?
Just wanted to say that I'm keeping my fingers crossed as far as the bed tax bill that Representative Avila, and again, I wanted to express my thanks to Representative Avila for really pushing on this bill. He's moved the ball so much further along for us, and now we just have to wait and see what happens at the Senate and governor level. But I wanted to thank the residents who have also reached out to our representatives about the the hotel tax bill and urge them to do something to make sure to provide our city with a fair share of the hotel bed tax revenues. The other thing I wanted to say that this weekend, Virginia Gardens Councilman Gabe Fernandez and Julie Arias, who's now the director of Curtis Mansion, put together the first bike historical scavenger hunt. And it was great. It was just so much fun. I didn't know there were so many monuments throughout Miami Springs that I had never heard of, never seen. And we found them, and you got clues from each one and then raced to another one. So there were 6 teams. I think it was 120 people that participated, which is just a great showing of all ages. And they did a fantastic job, and I wanted to thank them and the Virginia Gardens Police who escorted the teams around. And the last thing I wanted to mention is on Sunday, William knows I showed up this morning to tell him that I had an incident. I had a accident, and I was hit by a car riding my bike on the sidewalk, a car backing out of a driveway, and it's because I couldn't see the car, and the car couldn't see me because the hedge, there's a 6-foot hedge up to the sidewalk there, and I know our ordinance calls for I think it's 3 or 4 foot hedge. So I would like the code enforcement to be all out, because I was very lucky. It could have been much worse. And it could have been a child. It can be somebody walking their dog. I don't want this to occur to anyone else again, so I want to make sure that throughout the city, not just for this particular homeowner, but throughout the city, we enforce the ordinance of making sure that the...
Talk today, and they're going to do a sweep there are various areas that are like the ones you encounter.
Wonderful, because the safety of our residents and our pedestrians is, of utmost importance. And that's all. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to share that Friday I had the opportunity of attending. I was invited to attend the Doral opening ceremony for Little League, and there were so many people there to see so many families and children. But I just wanted mostly to share it because it recognized the city of Miami Springs. Because previous to them having that field, they had used our field and highlighted, the camaraderie that we have between the 2 adjacent communities. And I was very proud to say I was part of Miami Springs. So it was a lovely event.
Councilman Petrolanga?
Yes, I too had the opportunity to attend the Miami Springs Virginia Gardens Soccer Club on Sunday. Great turnout, great weather. And I want to thank Mr. Dino for putting it together, the kids, the parents, the staff, all the volunteers it takes to create an event like that one. I want to thank him for doing it year after year after year. I've been going now for, I think, about 7 years. Every year it just gets bigger and bigger. The mayor's going to follow up with what went on that day and what was given to us.
Councilman Best?
Yeah, good story on Doral. Mara, but we're going to be doing the same thing this coming Saturday. Can you still throw a baseball?
Who are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Good. You want to throw the first pitch?
Depends who
you
I'm
want to throw the
trying
first
to hit.
pitch? Want to throw the first pitch? Yeah.
If they ask me to, I will.
I have nothing else, sir.
I wanted to, Mr. Petrolanga there brought up about this is what was presented to the city, the Miami Springs Virginia Gardens Soccer Club, to the city of Miami Springs, and appreciation for all your support and dedication to our program, 2020.
What's that, Bill?
That's what they gave us. It's nice. So we could put it somewhere in the city.
Yeah, Williams' office.
Also, I want to have from
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec. Yeah.
From the mayor and council, our condolences to
Omar.
Omar. He lost his father over the past couple of days, and it's not easy when that happens, and that's why a lot of times when I say my prayer, it's the caretakers and the people are left behind that really hit the hardest. He's probably up there having a good time, and we got to go ahead and hold our heads up high. You know what I'm saying? So, to Omar from the city, our condolences, and this meeting's adjourned.
Yes.
Well, it's
10:30.
the urgent care, and they put like strips. Yeah.